don't have a lecture to put my notes on.
I'll give you one of your
No, I haven't got any notes. Just playing. Great to be amongst friends and great to be exploring this interesting concept of membership, or call it what you will. I think if the cliche is right, that people always remember how you made them feel, not what you did for them, then we need to really challenge the whole concept of membership as it has been, the whole concept of products and services, benefits, loyalty and rewards programs and so on, that don't necessarily connect and engage with the person, the heart and soul of the person. So I've been on a journey, I guess, since the Mariners in 2005 and then the Wanderers. And I thought you were talking about the Wanderers for a minute over here, about threatening and all those sorts of ideas about tribalism and so on, about challenging the concept of membership to the extent where we don't use the term anymore in the world of sport that I operate in. We talk about experience. I know Jane here, when you presented at the board members, you spoke about that whole shift today in the paradigm of the customer experience and the journey being what's really relevant, because that's where the emotion of how you make people feel flows from. So we don't talk about, and if I talk about, say, benefits, so we sell a season ticket, for example, and it's cheap. You save money. Only 65% of those people attend every game. So that gives you a message in its own right, I guess, doesn't it? That they're not becoming a part of the family just because of the benefit. They're actually becoming a part of the family because of the experience. So we use sort of two bookends, ignite, inspire and unite on one side. So ignite, inspire and unite on one side. And the other one we use on the other side is communication, collaboration and connectivity, which sort of then gives us this thing in the middle called our family, our community, whatever you want to call it. But we never talk about them as being our members. So how do I bring that to life for you? And some of you folk, I know David, you're involved in the Western Sydney Wanderers. And I just did it again last week at Manly. I don't want to shape their future, even though I'm the CEO of the business. I want our family and our community to shape our future. So when we went to the Wanderers, we did, I think, 6 or 7 town hall forums out there where we just go give people what we call a good listening to. And we just listened and said, if you really want to embrace our club, so remember in sport you can't win premierships every year. Remember that? Because you just don't. In fact, in AFL you're supposed to win one every 18 years. In Cronulla you're supposed to win one every 50 years. But you can't win premierships every year. So there's got to be something richer and deeper. But the way forward is the people in this room. And they gave us, remember at the Wanderers, we didn't have a name, a colour, a coach, a ground, a player, and anything. We had nothing, let alone a value. What I call the bookends of business, the purpose, the why do we exist, what's our purpose? And the other bookend is what's the values and cultural framework that's going to drive us on a day-to-day basis to deliver what we do. Because so many businesses, in my opinion, still today are so focused on the to-do, not the bookends of what I believe is good business. So that's what we're reshaping now. Well, I ran the forum last week at Manly. We'll do another one next week. We'll do one in January, early in the new year. Was to ignite and inspire, and at the end of the day, unite this group of disparate people who all have a common goal, which is their community, which they love and embrace, and their footy club, which happens to be one of those rich vehicles, has a great share of voice, tremendous capacity to open doors, a government, business, hearts and minds and souls and mums and dads and so on. Can do all that. But why? So for me, the power of, you're still using the term, I don't know what term to use, the experience, the journey of people who embrace our club is about a sense of belonging. It really is a sense of belonging. It's about a pride, a passion, a belief. The capacity to be involved in something that's making a true difference and buying into that and having the ability to buy into that through things like the town hall forums, which we did. So at Cronulla, at the Wanderers, at Manly now, to make sure we never lost that connectivity. The others, remember there was, this side here was inspire something or other, ignite, inspire and unite, and over here was communication, collaboration and connectivity. Think about those 3 C's. Communication. So what we did last Wednesday at Manly Lee's Club, God bless it, we communicated, but we empowered communication, which is what you're doing here, by the way, under San James team, which is awesome. But we empowered communication. Guess what then we did? Then we collaborated. And what's that framing? It's framing that connectivity. Does that make sense? Which will drive us forward as one.
as I said to them, guys, you know, when I went to Cronulla, I remember, and that was after Asada and wooden spoons and goodness knows what. And I was sort of getting lauded, embarrassingly getting lauded. And I said, guys, if you think this is about me, we're in deep shit. But together, we can create something very special. Together, we can create something very special. So too often, and I think, and I notice our president up the back as well, that in the past, even in this organisation, I think we've had an outward-facing model of engagement with the broader community. Whereas the inward-facing model of embracing, of giving them a good listening to. Some of the words you used over here a moment ago about relevance and authenticity. How in the hell do you engage with a generation, whatever they are, kid today? You know, when I did a talk at Knox Grammar School in Business Week for Year 10s, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, I guess, 350 kids, Roseville College, Ravenswood College and Knox Boys. I said, how many people watch TV? 30 out of 350 kids watch television, which is fascinating. So it challenges us on this whole engagement model, doesn't it? It challenges us deeply about how do we reach and participate and engage with our community. Because that's what I call it. We talked about our Sharks family or our Sharks community. We never talk about our Sharks members or our Wanderers members. God bless the RBB, David, who were very tribal, but brought together with around pride and passion and a sense of love of something far greater than the club, which was the game. 186 languages, Patricia, I think, in Western Sydney. You go into the hearts, you go into the history of that, and they go into some of the richest parts of soccer/football in the world. So it's in their veins, it's in their blood. No different to a business is in the veins, blood, what am I trying to say? Blame, whatever I'm trying to say, you know what I'm trying to say. It's in something. It's ingrained, isn't it? So how do we ignite, inspire and unite that? Not just to be an advocate or a lobbyist, not just to provide member benefits and services, but to truly harness the richness of all those folk in an engaging, empowering, listening, relevant, authentic way that gives them a sense of belonging and a reason why. When you do that, you go back to where I started, which was how you make people feel. Not just a discounted membership or work or whatever. How do we truly touch their souls? So we set up a members' council on each of those 3 places. At the Sharks, I think it had 18 members on it. And we use that as a continual springboard. How are we tracking, guys? It's about them, not us. We'd cater, we'd put on the beers and pizzas or whatever, but it was about them. How are we tracking? What's really working well? What can we do different? What do you hear? At the Wanderers ground, and a lot of you would have seen this, and at Sharks, and I'll do the same at the Eagles. I was never in the ivory tower. I'd walk the ground. I'd be on the hill. I'd be in the grandstand. I'd be at the gate. And I'd be listening and talking and engaging. We had a forum last week that members couldn't make. People couldn't make it. In Western Australia, Peru, God knows where. So we said, write in. Guess who responded? God bless me on Saturday afternoon. But I responded. They've never heard from the CEO. Let alone to think the CEO would take the time. So guess what I made? The responses I got. Guess what happened? How do they feel? They feel valued. They feel embraced. Now, it's not manipulative because it's generally what I believe and what I want to do. So it's not manipulative. But guess what? They're going to be a part of our journey for a hell of a long time. And I think you can have lifelong members of the family and members of community, which I heard you talking about before, as long as you move with them. Does that make sense? So that's what we do, what we're trying to do in the world of professional sport in the places I'm involved. It's starting to take on, and you talk about the customer experience. So the game day experience is really important. How do the boys and girls feel when they come? What's the ease of buying a ticket? Translate this to business. How easy it is to become a member here, for example. What's the game day experience like? How do I feel when I'm in there? What's the pride, the passion? Why do I wear my club colours? Why would I proudly tell someone I'm on whatever I am of the New South Wales Business Chamber? Why would I tell someone that? What's the point of difference? So there's 57 of us in Australia, not me, professional sporting groups. AFL, rugby, netball, big bash, soccer, rugby league, God knows what. So the question we had to challenge ourselves on, there's quite a few business chambers too, and there's also competitors emerging, Jane, isn't there? In some of the things we offer, Paul, there's competition and challenge. So one of the things we needed to do in the last 3 iterations of where I've been was, what's our real point of difference here? Why would people want to belong to this family? Hashtag more than just a football club. Does that make sense? I never said hashtag 2 years ago, God. I'm getting young. How good's that? But hashtag more than just the football club. So when you saw the Sharks' future statement, because we don't talk about vision statements, mission statements in my opinion, but when you saw about where we're going, what do we look like in the future? Be one of Australia's leading sporting lifestyle and entertainment organisations, because we owned a stadium, had a licensed club, we had a footy club, we had a property development. But guess what? Loved and embraced for the contribution and difference we make to our community. Let me just say it once more, and there's an F word missing in that. To be one of Australia's leading sporting lifestyle and entertainment organisations. Bang. Loved and embraced for the contribution and difference we make to our community. If you bring the latter to life, is there a really strong, compelling reason why you might want to belong to that family? Because you can't win comps all the time. You can't guarantee your player behaviour all the time over this side of the equation. But what you can do on the other side is drive collaboratively with your community the value proposition. Loved and embraced for the contribution and difference we make to our community. Guess what happened to our membership last year? Just like that. Because we brought in resilience programs, we brought in anti-violence programs, we brought in anti-bullying programs. We built MOUs with 75 schools in the Sutherland Shire. We're the first to introduce female rugby league. We had a diversity program, we had an inclusivity program. We built the first rap program in the NRL. And all of a sudden, people saying, wow, I want to be a part of that bus. Because it was making a real difference to people's lives. We were touching the hearts and souls and minds of boys and girls and mums and dads. Not through a discounted product or service, not through a discounted loyalty rewards program. Yes, they come, they're a part of the gig, but not because of that. But we were doing it out of a genuine want to make a difference. Does that make sense? When people say, what's your secret of success? I don't know, just listen. I know I engage. That's all I do. So Johnny Cartwright, our assistant coach, in Paul last week, because the head coach said, can you just have a chat to John's family troubles up here, they're living in a, what do they call, granny flat. So I just said, the first question I said to him was, how are you feeling? Gee, that's a powerful question. You'd be amazed what doors that opens up when you say, how are you feeling? And he talked to me, and he shared his feelings. And then we spoke about his life, his career aspirations, where he'd love to see himself, and yada, yada, yada. So mate, I want to help build that channel. When we finished, he shook me and looked at me and I said, no one who's been in rugby league 20 years has ever engaged with me. So you come back to experience, you come back to engagement, builds this sort of stuff, can build lifelong participants, can build tribalism, which can be durable. Particularly if you can get the cross-section of tribalism right. So we had the fanatics, you know, the weirdos, if you like, the red and black block down one end of the ground, making all this wonderful noise and so on, and we had the mums and dads at the other. But what does that brand really mean? And what's the reason behind that brand that people want to be a part of us that's different to any other? So that's what we've done. No magic wand, no secret. Experience, engagement. IIU, Ignite, Inspire, Unite, CCC, Communicate, Collaborate, Connectivity, builds this wonderful richness in the middle. I call it our family or our community. Some people still try to call it members. Yes, we still have products and services and benefits and loyalty programs, but we have a far richer tone that gives people a reason why or want to belong, because they understand the journey. And we communicate that journey out, but more importantly, we listen to it back in. And that's our real opportunity, I think. Whatever we're trying to shape, Jane, God knows what it'll be called, but it's exciting. It is exciting. Whatever it is, our opportunity is to give people really good listening to, if you truly want to embrace our organisation today and forevermore, what does it stand for? What does it do? What does it mean for you? How does it add value to your life? More importantly, while we've got the Members Council, how do you add value back to us? So it's a two-way street. It's like putting a wedding ring on. It'll only be as strong as the effort that both parties put into bringing that relationship to life in terms of its vibrance, its positivity, its longevity and all those sorts of things. If you want to call it membership today, that's what membership is in my opinion. So I'll finish where I started. People will always remember how you made them feel, not what you did for them. The success we've had has been around communication, collaboration and connectivity, really giving people a good listening to, understanding their needs, making sure that whatever we offer them and whatever we invite them to experience with us has a sense of relevance and authenticity. And to do that, you've got to listen. The starting point is listening, connecting and building together. Then gives you this wonderful community, this family. How do you treat family then flows from that, and we sort of understand the core values of engagement and experience. The world has shifted dramatically. I was sharing that we just did a 93,000 data cleanse at the Sharks, for example, and we use technology like Marketo Artulium to really identify and segment the markets we have there. And when you do that and understand it, you understand that the distribution channels for communication have got to be so broad and vast. But more importantly, the message has got to be so different. The message to a 20-year-old, to an 80-year-old, and the means of communicating that are very, very different today. But what I do know is there is a real opportunity to challenge ourselves and to really get out and reconnect and engage and to listen. Even within small business across Australia, there's hundreds of thousands of small businesses, but within that family of business, there's a range from 0 to 100 in terms of experience, in terms of capital capability, in terms of business acumen and so on. So we need to understand what they need and what they want and what's going to bring them together. What's our point of difference that's going to make them want to be a part of our family? Our opportunity is to really inspire, ignite and unite, and I think that is really important. On the other side of the fence, the communication is compelling. It gives you that collaboration that flows from that, and then the connectivity that forms your community, your family. Call them members today if you still want to, although I think it's a cliche term, we need to move away from it. But I think that whole notion of giving people a good listening to is really powerfully important. I sort of started my talk in there by saying that people will always remember how you made them feel, not what you do for them. The days of just discounted benefits and products and services and loyalty programs have really got to be merged with a far more enriching why. What's our compelling why? Why do you want to be a part of our journey? What's our value proposition for you? How do you help us add value? And how do we work together to create something really special? Why? If we bring small business together and give them a powerful enough reason to be together, which is more than just doing business, but this is a whole sense of making a difference, of contribution, of the greater good, of the momentum of a rising tides mentality by working together, then it's something you're proud to belong to, you want to belong to. It gives you a sense of identity, it gives you a sense of pride, it gives you a sense of passion, it gives you a sense of understanding that you're actually working together to make a true difference. And I've always said that with rising tides, we'll float all boats, and I know that's a cliche, but if we work in isolation in business, that's where we'll end up, in isolation. If we can work together collaboratively, the rewards we can reap as a collective are far greater. Mark Twain once said, I think that the two greatest days in a person's life are when they're born and when they understand why. And I think business and other parts of life fall neatly into that sort of saying, if you like. The other bookend, if you like, is in that whole values and cultural framework, really identifying what do we stand for, what's going to drive our decision making, our actions, our behaviours, our delivery on a day-to-day basis. And I think if you get the values and cultural framework right, you get the reason why, the purpose, what are we here for, why do we exist right, then the to-do sort of in the middle flows from that very logically and very sensibly. So the fundamental principles of good business to me will never vary from that too much. Align that, of course, with giving our stakeholders really good listening to, engaging with them, creating wonderful experiences for them, and building a true partnership at every level, whether it's a 6-year-old boy, an 80-year-old member, a corporate partner, a government liaison relationship, whatever. Building true partnerships built around adding mutual value. If you took an historical learning, my sense is, and it's a sense rather than a criticism, is that we've probably developed from within rather than engaging from without, and then empowering our stakeholders to really be a directional part of our journey and our future. So if I was to take a learning sitting on the board as I have, or being an insider as I was today, it would be we can engage more, we can listen more, we can be more relevant and authentic in our offerings. We can still have products and services, but how do we create those true meaningful experiences that add value to business, to those within business, to make a genuine difference? Well, yeah, I've been said for a long time, the greatest thing you can give people is a good listening to, and then act upon. Which comes back to the town hall forums we've ran in the various sporting bodies I've been in, where we've actually said to people, if you truly want to embrace our organisation, what would we stand for? What would our values be? What would our culture be? How do we bring ourselves to life on a day-to-day basis? How do we add value to your world? How do you add value to our world? How do we work together to create something unique and special?